old earthen dam. That farm had to be doing pretty well because they created something New Englanders really loved, because it was a way to make money in the wintertime on a farm. Winter comes and you're just hanging on, but not if you build yourself an ice pond. That's what we're looking at here, an old ice pond. And you can see up here the remains of the spillway. Somebody's been camping. You can see right there. Mr. Beaver getting crazy. It looks like the beavers are gone from this pond right now. They probably exhausted the food supply, so the pond is becoming a meadow. But right here, you see that stonework, and we can see that cement has been used, and we see that it was curtailed, or the foundation was undermined by high water one year, not many years ago, and it led that side to wash out. And probably that last hurricane we had up here. But you can also see evidence of the beaver here and the beaver there. You see the grass on that beaver dam, huh? He's been working, building. I remember that when he built that dam 20 years ago. He decided he wanted to make the water level a little deeper than the pond was actually set for. You know, nobody's been messing around with the depth of this pond. And notice the ducks way in the back. People will come out here and hunt ducks. And you can see the remains of multiple beaver lodges. 1, 2. There was another one that I saw that I can't see it now. There's 3 on this. There's actually another one way in the back. So here we are at an old ice pond, way out in the middle of nowhere, in a mixed hardwood forest. And if I continue up that hill along the edge of the pond, there's another series of settlements that I'm going to pass. But I'm going to save that for another day, because this was a nice little walk. Let's go back and investigate the settlement back there. Behind me is that massive retaining wall and maybe cellar hole for the barn ice house operation. And I think that the ice house was actually on the top, up above the retaining wall that's directly across from me. And the reason I'm thinking that is because if you walk over here, you can see what do we want to call that? Oh, look at that. Some old farm memorabilia, including a brick and a probably more recent wine bottle. I don't know what that is. And you can see the old 55-gallon drum. But the reason I'm thinking that this is where the door was to the ice house or to the barn is because of this threshold, this capped threshold, which would have been bearing the weight of the ice as it was moved and placed in trucks, or before that, wagons, to be transported out. Time goes by, winters freeze, those stones, dry as they are, get undermined, they get filled with soil, the soil freezes, it moves them apart a little, and we'll get collapses like we have over here. But much of this stone wall is doing very well, as you can see. And we've had a collapse here. But I don't see any other thresholds like the one behind me. But I got to show you something over here, which is pretty interesting. Now, I had a subscriber ask me, when I'm walking around these cellar holes, do I worry about falling into a well? And if you watch my videos, especially my shorts, I'm always talking about it. There's one right there. Now notice the farmer who built this well actually took a slab of rock, and he took 3 slabs of rock, and he carved the round well so that it would accept the cap. And it's even like beveled so that it'll hold a cap. I wonder where the cap is. It's probably down in the well. And look at how far down that goes. If you were to fall in one of these wells, you could get hurt. So here we are above that big foundation that I showed you earlier. And I have a feeling that the flat spot that we're looking at above the retaining wall is where the barn was. And if you look, you can see the threshold of the door that would have allowed the barn door to open up and things to be loaded and unloaded into wagons. We had a nice walk through some abandoned farmsteads, and if I had only been here a little earlier, look at that chicken of the woods sitting there taunting me, saying, Stan, man, if you were here just 2 weeks ago, you would have been able to, oh, those weasels, can you believe them? They're so disrespectful, but I see them and I'll be back, and they'll be in this area next year, but I'll have to get here in September. The thing about walking around the woods at this time of year is make some noise. We are beyond moose mating season, so you really don't have to worry about moose coming after you, although female moose can be really territorial. But making noise will stop you from walking up on a bear. I had an issue just a month and a half ago where I almost stepped on one. You'll notice as I'm walking, New England forests have a lot of up and down. And there could be a bear, there could be a moose right on the other side. And so as long as I'm talking, they know I'm coming, and they'll just peacefully, dither away. You might not even know they're there. They might just skip on out. But if you walk up on them, get yourself in trouble. Well, you roll the dice. So New England forest, beautiful. Look at that oak. Probably 250, 300 year old. Beautiful oak. I might be exaggerating. Maybe two. Maybe I'm going to. Maybe it's only. Oh. And there's a hen of the woods at its base. Nope. I got fired up by that chicken down there. See what chickens do to you? So our New England or our Northeast forests are magic. They're magic not just in the beauty that they show you in the natural history, showing us the geologic formation of the region and the ice ages that have come and gone, but the human habitation, the native people, and the colonists later can be remembered if you know what you're looking for in the landscape. And the critters that were here then are still here today. If you think about the critters in our woods, when I was growing up, there were beaver. Big beaver pond down here. Beaver hung on. They were heavily trapped, but they have hung on. However, there were very few deer. Massachusetts only had about 20,000 deer in 1975. And purportedly the deer we had been reintroduced, restocked from the swamp deer down in Delaware. We didn't have any turkey. They were brought back in, I think, 78. It doesn't seem like you can go anywhere anymore without running into a flock of turkey. And you'll see deer everywhere. Does are like squirrels in some parts of the Northeast. You'll notice that it's not as easy to see the bucks, though. The bucks are like ghosts. You tend to only see them in November. And this is November right now. That's why it's such a great month for hunting, because the buck are in rut. And the way hunting works, if you aren't a hunter, is the buck fertilize multiple doe. One good-sized male deer will fertilize 7, 8, 10 females. And the hunting rules and regulations of our hunting allow us to harvest buck. And depending on where you are, a particular number. Does you have to get a special permit for, generally, but every state's different. And that's because we're trying to protect next year's crop of fawns. Now there's coyote out here, and people have even reported seeing mountain lion, including me, and I'll do a video on it soon. If somebody had told me they saw a mountain lion 10 years ago, I would have told them they were drunk, stoned, or stupid. But I gotta tell you, the critters that were here, when I say mountain lions, we gotta use their colonial name. This is fishing historic places. The catamount. The catamount. Well, the catamount are back. I think they're just passing through now, trying to extend their range. But it is a range they will extend. So we're back to where we started. This was quite a hike today. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you'll get out and make your own hike. Make your own personal connection with the forest around you. As darkness gathers in the east.